Now we reach the Windrush generation, and admittedly this is going to be quite a short one, because all you need to know here is the reasons that the Windrush generation came to Britain. Well, the experiences as well. See, the reasons they came is going to be quite obvious to you. During the Second World War, the Caribbean was part of the British Empire. They had supplied over 10,000 soldiers to fight for Britain during this time. So these people who were from the Caribbean felt like they were British. They felt like they'd helped Britain, and Britain was, should we say, their leader and follower. When they returned from war, they found that the Caribbean had not fared well since they'd left. A hurricane had struck the islands, which had made poverty quite common. It was hard to find food, it was hard to find jobs, because businesses had been destroyed. Now, at this exact same time, Britain was also in hardship. First and Second World Wars had bankrupted it, and Britain was trying to expand this concept they used to call the Commonwealth. See, the Commonwealth was the number of countries who were in the British Empire, which is another way to refer to them, the Commonwealth of countries. And Britain wanted, should we say, a bit of easier access for these Commonwealth countries to move around so Britain could use them to help Britain. Britain was actually quite actively destroyed in the Second World War, and it needed help to rebuild. So in 1948, Britain introduced an act. It's called the British Nationality Act. And all it was is if you came from a Commonwealth country, you came from somewhere in the British Empire, you were legally allowed a British passport. That doesn't sound like a big thing, but a passport allows you to enter that country free. You don't have to apply for a visa. You have a right to live and work in that country for as long as that passport is valid. That's quite a big thing. A passport is valid for about 10 years most of the time. So all of these Caribbean immigrants have got, well, all these Caribbean people have gone, the Caribbean's got no jobs, it's got no money. I can move to Britain essentially for free and be able to live and work in a country that I know is prosperous and rich. Why not? So a lot of these people started moving to Britain. They started coming over on a ship known as the Empire Windrush. It's a famous ship. You'll see it on my next video. Now, all of these people came to Britain with an expectation. Britain, at least the government, was saying, we need you to help us rebuild. We need people to start and fund our NHS service with nurses and doctors being required. We need people to work as bus drivers because a lot of them were killed during the war. We need people to work and reconstruct our country because our buildings have been destroyed by bombs. And they came here thinking they were wanted. They'd been told and taught in school all of their life that they were British. They were taught how wonderful Britain was. They were named after British heroes. And once they arrived in Britain, the people of Britain had a very different perspective. See, these people had gone through some of the hardest times of their life as well. Their country and buildings and businesses had also been destroyed. And at the same time, they'd witnessed people arriving to try and sort that out. That, to be honest, didn't look the same as them. For a number of reasons, racism is one of the hard dealt with issues in the country we still live in today, and the people of the Windrush generation experienced it to a high degree. The people of Britain began to start claiming that black people were the same level as dogs. They were being treated in the exact same way the Irish were, being blamed for things that they were not causing, blamed for stealing jobs. The KBW is a famous phrase that was marked on doors and walls nearby, should we say, residences for black people, called Keep Britain White. And famously, an MP called Enoch Powell made a speech called The Rivers of Blood. I urge you to read it on your own terms, but essentially Enoch Powell believed that black people were going to take over Britain and kill every white person. It's not the greatest thing. The people in the Windrush generation who arrived in Britain came, if anything, to a harder place to live than they had left. They came to a place where they were treated poorly, they came to a place where they probably were not working in the jobs they wanted, but still they succeeded. They managed to make an impact on Britain that we're going to talk about in the next video. But what you need to know is these things. What was it like to grow up in the Caribbean? What was Caribbean like after the Second World War? And how did the Commonwealth work? How did it encourage migrants to move to Britain? All right, good luck.